This is Curious Brain Thoughts.
Hello, Paul.
Good day to you.
How you doing?
All right, yeah. Bit busy today. Lots going on, which is all good. And, yeah, looking forward to the weekend. And thankfully, that's only... Well, we're on Thursday, so there's only Friday to go.
Not long now.
Indeed.
I thought today we might crank up the old RTG.
Roger?
See how she's doing. Because would you mind just pushing the button though for me?
No, that's
Is that
absolutely
all right?
fine.
You're
yeah.
closer.
That's fine.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I am considerably closer because there's currently, about 70 miles between us?
Yes, and whilst I have been using or practicing rather my what's it called? Using your mind to do telekinesis, is it? When you use your mind to make things move.
Right.
And I'm getting quite good.
Yes.
I can't go over 70 miles yet. So
It's also quite a heavy button, so...
Right.
Right, okay, here we go.
Random theme generator. Random theme generator.
And thusly, we have a topic. And the topic is confidence.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not feeling
Well,
very good
interestingly, it does have, of course, a number of definitions. I'm going off of Oxford with this.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling or belief that you can have faith in or rely on something or someone. We have every confidence in our politicians, she said with no trace of irony.
With no trace of confidence.
Yeah, quite. So that's the first definition. I'm confident in my raincoat's ability to keep me dry, for example. The telling of private matters or secrets with mutual trust. I've told them in confidence how I feel. Interesting. And then in the dictionary, they have a separate definition for self-confidence.
Right.
Which is a feeling of trust in one's abilities, qualities, and judgments. So you can have confidence, so you can infer confidence into something or someone else.
Okay.
You can do something in confidence, which is like a relationship of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is self-confidence. I'm confident in my own capabilities, qualities, etc.
Well,
so 3 different uses of the same
I'd like
word.
to feel confident that I could confidently share in confidence on this podcast.
In confidence with our listeners.
Yes.
In confidence with the internet.
So I'd like to feel confident about confidently sharing in confidence.
Confidentially.
In confidence. Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, that creates a little bubble, doesn't it? In confidence, I want to say something to you.
And I want to feel confident talking to you in confidence.
How confident do you feel in your ability to...
Full stop.
In your ability?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I feel like this is a big topic for me. The whole thing of confidence. And, people might think, oh, well, you guys must be, like, super confident because... You're doing a podcast that's in 25 countries with between 9 and 9 billion listeners, because details matter. And
I'm confident that that's right.
Me too. Me too. It might be 5 and 9 billion. I'm not sure.
Whatever.
Anyway, yes. So it's interesting because I find confidence isn't necessarily a static thing for me. It's very contextual. And I was thinking about something just the other day. We were having a conversation. You and I were talking about some epic stuff we're going to be doing with our businesses this year, which is incredibly exciting. And I was thinking about how, for example, when we're running some kind of facilitation, and we've done, like we did a global sales conference a while ago, and what we did was we ran a sales program to enable the organisation to sell as one and to look at things differently and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there was, like 150 people involved.
Yeah.
So we're running this thing, and, okay, you might feel a little... maybe nervous is the right word, I don't know, beforehand, and then once you get going, you're feeling really confident in what you've done and, the way in which we're going about it and all the subsequent follow-ups and blah, 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 blah. And then I was thinking about how confident would I feel to stick my hand up in a room full of 150 people if I was a participant.
How interesting.
Versus facilitating, because there is this perceived confidence. If you're facilitating it, there's a difference between that and as a participant.
Yes, I agree. And confidence is felt and perceived, to your point, but they can be felt and perceived very differently. In other words, I also, I'm always working on my inner confidence, my self-confidence, if you like. And that's gotten so much better as the more I've worked on it. Surprise, the better it gets. But I remember people would say, friends would say, but how can you lack confidence? Because you stand up exactly that in front of a room of 150 people. So confidence isn't universal in that area of my life. In that professional area, I feel really self-assured. I've been able to prepare myself very well. We've done all the work we've done in designing and whatever else. And I do feel that nervousness, I frame that as feeling ready because I really care deeply about the work, etc. And so that is a self-fulfilling prophecy then. And the more I do it, the more confidence I gain. Then in the converse, in areas of my life where I lack confidence, for example, socially, I lack confidence. I noticed that my social life was, geriatric, frankly. And I'm not looking to go down the ministry. I've been there. I've done that.
Just to be clear, of sound.
Yes, Ministry of Sound, not of Culture.
Or of
agriculture,
mysterious works, or
but that's actually quite a dated reference now. The Ministry of Sound.
It is.
Look it up on Spotify, people. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've been down the ministry. I've been to the hacienda, done all those things. Don't need to do that anymore. However, I've become very comfortable in being out in the countryside, walking my dogs. I live in a beautiful place. But I haven't gone beyond that. Do you know what I mean? I've kept myself in a place where so now I'm thinking, okay, how can I expand that? How can I just gently get out there into my local community, which is really vibrant and it's got lots and lots and lots to offer. It's linked to all of that stuff around comfort zone and discomfort and But how much of it, Paul, here's the thing, here's my question for you. How much of our self-confidence is do we give to ourselves, comes from within, in other words, and how much of it is given to us by external validation?
Well, again, I think that massively varies because depending on, for example, one of our early episodes, I think it's like number 3 or 4, was imposter syndrome. You know, and it depends a lot on what's going on for us as individuals as to how much we need that reassurance, that validation from others in order to feel confident. And for me, I do feel that that is a natural human response. You know, we are pack animals. We live in communities. Yeah. You know, we are built to be together, not to be in solitude. And so it's unsurprising, therefore, that we might seek approval of others because we want to be confident that we'll still be accepted, we won't be exiled, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of that involved. And for myself, I have also been working a lot on my confidence because there's, you know, a big difference between that and arrogance.
Quite.
You know, confidence for me comes with very big doses of humility, for example, and authenticity, vulnerability, and so on. Lots of really powerful, positive qualities. And so I've been working a lot on that for myself, particularly inside, you know, noticing where I have this need, when my confidence is feeling knocked. I find often external validation from someone helps a bit, and then my inner voice can go, well, anyway, that's invalid because they're just trying to make you feel better.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh, right, okay, yeah, fair. And so I've been working a lot on my inner dialogue around that and saying, where is my confidence? Where can I rely on it? And one of the things I think I've demonstrated to myself over the last few years is around the music. I know I bring it up a lot because it's relevant in so many different ways. You know, I feel, although I am not the best musician, I know that, and I'm not trying to be the best musician, I am confident, however, in my musicality and in some of my core capabilities. Yeah. Which is great because that means I can get out of my way a bit in order to try new things, to do different things, you know, to do spur of the moment things or whatever it might happen to be. And I'm noticing how more and more that is coming into other parts of my life. You know, being confident in going into a social setting, confident in networking, confident in things that would feel awkward and I'm actually getting better. Oh, actually, talking of there's probably some people listening who have that reaction. You know, when you go and they do it as well.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So you're welcome. What about you?
Right. Well, I'm just reflecting on the fact that we both have private coaching practices as well as the work we do together in our business Connect How. And I'm just reflecting that for lots of people, their self-confidence is a theme. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Why is that? And then it strikes me, and this is true for me as well, and so I'll speak just for myself and not for others, but the lack of confidence is as a result of, for me, a story or an inner dialogue that's happening And so the work is to update the story, to edit it. It's old, it's out of date, possibly not even mine. And so that's the work inside that then gets the dynamo of confidence spinning, and then you're able to step out, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and it grows and grows. And then when somebody does pay you a compliment or validate you in some way, you're able to let it in rather than batting it away. So yeah, maybe it's about those stories that fuel a negative self-talk.
Yeah. And the thing that I notice with my clients as well as with myself, and surprise, surprise, I find it easier to work with my clients' problems than with my own.
What a shock.
Is the perspective. So helping people to gain a different perspective, to see things from a different way. So, back to the story point. Oh, well, I'm not very confident because I'm never any good at this and I'm never any good at that and blah, blah, blah. And through the dialogue, being able to uncover counter perspectives to that. To be able to say, oh, well, that's interesting, because the way you just described that was really confident and really articulate, and how amazing. Isn't that great? And suddenly starting to see, hold on a minute. Right, okay. If I am stood in a different place, it will look different, funnily enough. So I can choose to literally just take a step out of the place where I'm stood and look at it from somewhere else.
And you're just making me think of that idea of, that thing of we speak to ourselves with great harshness and judgment. We would never speak to our friends or our partner or our children like that. So I sometimes use that technique of saying, what would your best friend say? What would your partner say? What would your...
Even a stranger, like, what would someone else say?
Yes,
literally
just someone.
Anyone. Like in the supermarket, are you going to tell them to F off for being absolute effing idiots? And
Yeah.
no, you're not going to say that.
No, you're not. No. So, like you say, embodying that other perspective in another person can be really helpful. Just because we're kinder to other people than we are to ourselves normally.
And another thing that's really cool about using that approach that has been really effective, even including last week with one of my clients, is it gives them the confidence to be able to say something that they wouldn't want to say to themselves.
Yes.
So I think that's something that's also very, very cool about it. Now, the other thing, so being able to belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something.
Yes.
Yeah. I find that interesting because I keep thinking about the relationship with that type of confidence, being able to, have faith in and rely upon belief around certitude, and the connection between feeling certain about something and therefore being confident in the certainty versus, and I think we've brought this up before, the idea of being, when you've really got confidence in something, including in yourself, you can be sure enough to be unsure.
Yes.
And maybe that's really like the peak of confidence, as opposed
that
to...
you embrace...
Yes.
Excuse me, bit of windy pops there. You embrace the uncertainty. Yeah, that's a good point, because if you have to cling to certainty, and we all need it, the brain hates uncertainty. Our actual brain hates it. So that's why we all try and look around the corner, go, I wonder if this would happen, or I wonder if that would happen, because we're getting ready by playing through some likely scenarios. And how do we know what's likely? Well, based on what's happened in the past. That's the data that your brain uses, that my brain uses. So actually, there's real freedom in the uncertainty, because you're able to acknowledge that you don't know. But like you say, it then requires an inner stillness or an inner confidence that enables you to know that whatever happens, it'll be okay. And that's easier said than done, frankly.
It is. And actually, just even a belief in or having faith in someone or something, even that requires confidence in yourself. That you will be okay. Well, the point is so that you will be okay. So I can be confident in embracing the uncertainty that, I'm sure enough to be unsure. And the only reason why I can do that is because I am very confident in myself. That I will be okay no matter what is thrown at me. So it's kind of like...
What about that leap of faith idea then? How does that factor in?
I think that's... So one thing that was going through my head when you were talking earlier was how many people are working for a company they don't want to work for, doing a job they don't want to do, because they feel stuck that this is the only option. So I can only earn the money I need to earn by doing this thing. I don't feel confident that I could go somewhere else. I feel certain I will get paid every month on this paycheck.
Yeah.
Thing. And so that's what it started to make me think about this, with this leap of faith. Being sure enough to be unsure. I'll be okay. I don't know how or what it will look like. And, even with our journeys, like with this leap of faith, it's not been a straight line. It hasn't gone... No. It's like not just gone up. And you go, oh, amazing. There's been significant challenges. And I think one of the things in this sort of space is around feeling confident enough that without even knowing how, that you'll be able to get through it. It's not going to end your life.
No. Interesting. Yeah, it's really interesting because I think that our confidence in, politicians, the royal family, I'm speaking from the UK perspective here, the newspapers.
Not the American royal family, right?
No. There are other royal families, obviously. But, the newspapers used to be perceived as true. There was confidence that they would be writing some true things. Not anymore. And, people were revered. There was this whole thing I was listening to about an actress called Hattie Jakes. She was in some of the Carry On films, if anyone's seen those. But she had an affair and it was kept out of the papers. There were certain... she had confidence that even if people found out, it wouldn't be all over the front page of the newspaper because she was a public figure and there were certain boundaries and edges and things were kept out of the public domain. And that doesn't happen anymore. So there's light and shade to all of this. The point being that what do we actually, outside of ourselves, have real confidence in?
Yeah. Because the other thing that was going through my head was connected to fear as well. In order to feel less fearful of something, it's good to have confidence in something. Sort of like a tool to help you take that leap of faith. Because if you're racked with fear at the idea of a leap of faith, or racked with fear that the press are going to put something in or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, and there are some connections to the fact that I don't need to face my fear if I'm confident in another thing. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I'm just noticing.
No, you are.
I'm just noticing that there's that non-dualistic side to it as well.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, potentially, I'm no, God, what do I know? But, as our confidence in those more societal kind of institutions has been eroded, we live in a much more secular society, generally speaking. We, it's been eroded down to this more individualistic sense where actually the only thing you can really rely on or have confidence in is yourself. And I know to a degree that's always been true, but yeah, it's really, really interesting as culture changes, shifts and moves.
Like your point about there being certain standards or boundaries or whatever, those have just been eroded over the years, so you've got no confidence in them anymore.
No.
It's like that thing about Zuckerberg, for right or for wrong, not to debate, is no longer going to be fact-checking because, one, it was savagely damaging thousands of employees, and two, the algorithms that they have built were predominantly wrong. So they're therefore not going to do fact-checking anymore. So then there's even less confidence out there around because it's pushing, I suppose, that's the other thing, interesting, the relationship between confidence and accountability. Because now I need to be far more accountable for the things that I see and take on as being a truth, in inverted commas, whereas, like you were saying with the papers in the olden days, you could rely on them. You have more confidence in them. They were accountable for telling the truth.
And we're not necessarily saying that hiding things from people is a good idea, but, things shift and move and change. We shift, move, change, grow. It's normal. It's inevitable. So I think having a rigid sense of confidence in something that can't evolve because it's very fixed for you is always going to be a challenge because things are going to move around you. And if you've just attached yourself with, unwavering confidence to anything outside of yourself, then that is all subject to change that you don't control. By the way, I'm just eyeballing the postman's van coming down the thing, so I might go on mute shortly.
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing because we don't want to die. No. And the thing that just made me curious then was if you can't rely on anything, what can you rely on apart from yourself? Good timing. And then it got me thinking about the visual of an explorer who's walking through deep snow on on top of a mountain, and they are confident in their equipment. They can't necessarily be confident on the next step that they're going to take, and they can only be confident about that once they have put their foot down and they've not slid off the side of a mountain or whatever. Yeah. So that, which talks to your point around that momentary or contextual or moving confidence. There are certain things that you can absolutely be confident about. Yeah. And that might be your faith, your spirituality. It might be your skills, your capabilities. It might be your family. It doesn't doesn't matter. The point is, it will move because you'll be taking it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So 100%. So if we know that for us and for lots of people, self-confidence is a challenge, what are your kind of top actionable things that will support anybody, you, me, in growing our self-confidence?
Yes. I was trying to think of something witty like just give up or bury your head in the sand. And they didn't come to me. So what I would say is to really be mindful of maybe just two things. Just keep it really simple.
Mm-hmm.
First one being, how much do I need external validation from others?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, we all do to some extent, because that's part of our social makeup and so on.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, to what extent do I need that in order to feel confident in myself? And the other thing would be, how capable am I of changing my perspectives on the way I look at myself?
Right. So, how much do I need external validation? How capable am I of changing how I look at myself? I'm going to mute because he's coming. The postman's coming.
Yes, because those two things, I think, are connected to this one thing that I love, which is the power of noticing. Because the more I notice something, without judging it, just going, oh, look, I need another compliment, or I need to feel reassured that I'm good enough, or I need a pat on the back from somebody, or I need this, or I need that. Or I notice that, I'm very harsh with myself, or I'm telling myself I'm not good at something and doubting my capabilities, whatever it might be. The more I notice these things, the more opportunity I have to start to choose something different for myself, to start exploring. It's not that you'll become magically confident overnight. It just provides a pathway to start noticing what else might be true.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And just like, everybody will be able to identify an area of their life where they can see some increased confidence.
Yeah.
And for us, it might be professionally, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, how has that happened? And then you can borrow that and apply it to other settings. And the other one I would say would be just to pay attention to your inner dialogue, how kind and compassionate you are being, how curious you're being, and if you come at it from that perspective, then you are kind of being your own best friend in building your own confidence, rather than being a detractor, being mean to yourself.
Totalmente.
Love that. I'm going to go off and apply all of that now in my own
literally right now
life.
In your own confident, confidentially way, full of confidence.
I've told you that in confidence, though, so just FYI.
Well, I'm quite confident that...
I probably should have told you that this whole thing was in confidence before we said it.
Right.
I'm going to retroactively apply that.
I have no confidence that will be applied. I think you're on your own there.
Oh, no. Disaster.
Oh, well. Now, pay attention, 007.
Tell me.
If anybody would like to get involved, and by throwing in a topic or whatever, please do get in touch with us. Pray tell, how might they do that?
Well, the best way is via email, and that is www.curiousbrainparts@gmail.com.
Do you see what she did there? That's not our email address. It doesn't start www.
Sorry, I was distracted because there's another delivery coming and the dogs are going to bark.
Right.
So Curious Brain. So edit that out.
Right, okay.
Skirt.
By the way, everyone, here's Lou's postal situation, just in case you're wondering.
Sorry,
Parcels
guys.
every 5 minutes.
They're not for me, really.
Right.
So if you want to email us, please do get in touch. curiousbrainfarts@gmail.com.
www.
I know how everything works.
Okay,
So
are
it's
you
good.
confident in that?
I am confident. I'm supremely confident in my ability to remember an email address.
Love that. So remember, guys, www.curiousbrainfarts.gmail.com.
Whatever.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Curious brain thoughts.